Well, hello, viewers. Hope everyone's doing great today. I am your host, Jeremy Reeder, and with me today, he's he's my go-to guy. We go together like cocaine and waffles. Bill Sutherland.
Happy to be here, Jeremy. Seems like this might become a regular thing. I'm really happy about it.
I know, right? Like I'm enjoying this. So, where are we today? Let's see. Sunday, G Challenge Round Two. The big bad Bathurst. Whoever the admins are that picked the first two tracks to be the hardest of the season. You guys suck.
Get him over with early, I guess.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get those things knocked out, as I think what they were thinking. Oh, look, right on board with Jeremy Reeder, huh?
At the end of qualifying, how are things looking here?
So we got a Lambo up front. Um,
That is nice to see.
that is nice to see, isn't it? It's kind of like a change of pace. We got Nichols up front, and then it is Carmaduri, Higgs, Simmons, Andreasen, Dan French, Tony Martell, Reeder, Sabolsky, and Tobias Theroff, your top 10, it looks like. Got one or two
And
still come across the line, but I think that might hold.
Martell and Sobolski, bronze drivers qualifying within the top 10, ahead of a lot of gold, platinum, and silver drivers. Maybe a reclassification is in store for the next season.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Antonio Martell and Sabolsky both have really brought their A game the first couple races. Interested to see how they do this season.
Hey, Jeremy, I appreciate the info. Just as a reminder, I'm the series admin for ESR's Multi-Class Monday series. And do you mind if I share another fun fact?
Well, absolutely.
I just feel like last week's wasn't that fun, you know. But
Well,
I'm,
what is your
I'm,
fun fact?
I'm gonna try to make it a little more interesting. I grew up playing hockey, but I am not a Canadian. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and don't tell any of our Canadian friends, but it was roller hockey, like California style,
Oh
like Mighty
yeah, roller
Ducks kind of
hockey.
thing. Yeah, so they probably wouldn't think that it was real hockey,
I was
anyways.
gonna say, like, California, depending on where you were, probably nothing ever froze over. So
Well, yeah, we had indoor ice rinks as well, but I grew up playing roller hockey.
nice roller hockey.
Now, the format for today's race, I believe, is the same as our previous round, which is the sprint format, 60-minute race, and there is a pit stop that is going to be required within a 10-minute pit window in the middle of the race. Is that all correct, Jeremy?
That is right. We're gonna have one pit window, 10 minutes put in the middle of the race. Fuel and tires are required. Not much strategy here. Pit entry here though, stupid crazy.
Yeah, it is tricky, and if you have not practiced it, it can turn ugly quite quickly. Now, one other thing to consider with that pit stop is damage. One
Oh
of the
yeah,
things that is unavoidable here to most drivers is going to be that unfortunate meeting with Barrier, the walls up on top of the mountain, whether it is through Skyline coming down those S's or in the turns just before those really high-speed left-handers. They are tough to avoid, and when you do hit them, it can be a race-ending event if you have to repair 30 plus seconds of damage in the pits.
so I have a confession to make. I absolutely hate this track.
Oh, I
Uh,
see.
I am not I don't like this track. It's just look what it is you actually have to know how to drive this track without destroying the car. So if you have just it could just be the smallest of mistakes that you make, and just they're amplified here. So I'm just like, you know what? I think this is I think this race in particular is probably Reader's second race ever here. So
Yep, and I believe you would not be the only one to have that sentiment about this track. It is definitely going to be a race of attrition, and those who can minimize damage throughout the race, I think, are going to find themselves near the front of the grid.
So interestingly enough, the Lambo must be it must be bopped pretty good here. Because I want to say Nichols put in like a 201, which is 202, which is no, he put in a 201, which is
Wow, and
super
do you
super
have the
quick.
actual time there with the decimals? Because we have a lap record here currently set by Shane Van Gisbergen over 6 years ago at 201.567.
Let's see if we can find it here.
Has the Loch Ness Monster come out to chomp down on a lap record here at Mount Panorama?
Might have 201.827.
Oh,
So
just under 3/10 off, but
yeah,
quite a lap indeed. Up there with the best of
the
them.
the next highest was Bogdan in a 202.785. So he's almost a second faster than the field just from qualifying.
That is unreal.
That's unreal.
And that advantage will definitely come in handy as Nichols will be able to maybe drive at 90, 95% and still maintain that lead, maybe make fewer
Right.
mistakes on that mountain.
We'll have a full formation lap here. Everybody going up the hill, get those tires warmed up.
And looking at this unique layout, it dates back all the way to the 1930s, even though the racing in this area started in the 1900s. And it is a unique format, that is for sure, with these tight quarters up here, much like a street circuit. And indeed, during the year when there aren't races going on, the public uses this in two directions. You can actually drive the circuit. And don't get any ideas about speeding. I heard that it is heavily policed for good reasons. You don't want people acting like they're driving GT3 race cars when they're really in a minivan or something similar.
I did not realize that the public could actually use this.
Yep, that's right. Much like the Long Beach Street Circuit, for example,
Huh?
although that one is much more cut and pieced together, whereas this one is actually a pretty continuous scenic loop that you can drive almost the full track.
Huh. Well, I'm looking at the mini map here, and it looks like we've got some stragglers that are having issues keeping up. So I wonder if those leaders are paying attention to that. They'll be going 2 by 2 here in just a minute. We got a whole gaggle full of cars in the back there.
Yep, and a good field today. Over 20 drivers. I believe we're going to start the race with 23 drivers.
Yeah, excellent size field. Love to see this, especially on the Bathurst.
Now, thinking about that pit window, it really is going to punish those who may take damage early in the race. If they have to pit outside of that pit window, let's say within the first 5 or 10 minutes, that will not count toward their one mandatory pit, and they're going to have to go ahead and take a second pit stop, which will
That's
be
right.
extremely detrimental to their race.
Zach Buns and that pink McLaren. Can't miss it, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you know anything about me, you know that I love a good pink livery.
Oh yeah. Wasn't there this pink thing that was chasing you down, possibly in the Discord?
I don't recall, but what I do recall here is that when they are at speed, this turn, the chase here is going to look a lot differently. It looks quite calm and like a nice scenic drive here at the bottom of the hill as they approach the last corner, but if you're going 2 by 2 on lap one at speed, it will look a lot more chaotic.
Yeah, we're going to see some interesting stuff for sure on this lap one. Everybody will stay. You would want these guys to go ahead and go single file before they go up the hill. Um, but I think we're going to see some shenanigans here. Bathurst always breeds problems.
Approaching the green lights here.
Let's see, where are we going to go green?
Green light, give it all you
Green
got.
light, here we go. They are off. Looks like we got a couple people got some bad starts there, right like
Everyone is keeping it pretty tame, though, not wanting to make it 3 wide.
oh,
Oh, no.
we got a Aston Martin off in the background. Oh my
That's
goodness.
Thirol spinning off
Oh,
and taking some front-end damage.
that's gonna hurt.
Field is filing out a little bit. We have 2x2 a little further back.
Yeah, good move, everybody. Stay, go ahead, get single file coming up this mountain.
And as predicted, here we go, single file into... Oh,
Oh,
no.
Antonio Martel having a graze with the wall.
Multiple drivers taking damage here already.
Oh, Nichols, he's having some issues up here at the front. There's a bottleneck, and it starts with him.
It does make you wonder, how safe is Nichols taking it on lap 1 to keep the field bunched up? Here at Skyline for the first time, the dive down all the way to Forest Elbow. We've heard the
Oh,
drivers
he's
talking
got some
about it.
front end damage. Did you
Front
see that?
end damage. Oh no, Lachlan
Oh
Nichols.
no. Oh
The
no.
floppy bonnet. When did we miss this action? This could be devastating and a difficult car to pass perhaps in a straight line anyways, even with the damage. We'll have to see here.
Everybody comes down. We're gonna see some filing out here. Some 2x2.
Karamidaro is through for P1. Nichols back to P2. Perhaps P3. Yes, Higgs is going to get the position, I believe.
Yeah, he will. Oh my good. Oh, what happened there? Did Reader
Is that
murder 2 guys?
Simons and Andreessen are off? Did not
Oh
see the
no.
cause, but that is not a good sign for either of those BMW
looked
drivers.
It looked like the Audi driver of Reader just came from behind and just committed a double homicide there. Is what it looked like to me.
We'll have to see if the stewards are going to weigh in on that lap 1 incident. Andreessen trying to fight their way back up already. This is going to turn into a recovery drive. I believe that was Hemian slow off of turn 1, and as we look at this hill, the mountain straight begins to climb up to the top. That exit from turn 1 is all important, and we see Hemian losing a few positions just from that one mistake.
Yeah, he getting swallowed up here. Oh, Josh McLaughlin trying to hold the outside in that pig. Whew.
I see a lot of side-by-side action here as we
Coming
go
up the hill. Gentlemen, where was this energy at on lap 1? Huh? Now Nichols in the pits.
Wow, that is an
pitted.
unfortunate break.
That's gonna hurt him. Oh my goodness, there is a Bentley off. Oh, Henrik. Oh, that's not good.
That's
is
heavy, heavy suspension damage, I believe. Caution in the downhill section.
We'll have to see if he can maintain any type of speed with that damage.
Well, this early in the race, the good news is if you do pit for damage, you have the whole 55 minutes left to work back that deficit. But you got to make that decision quickly, and that's tough to do in this situation. Let's just say this, if your steering wheel is not pointed straight right now, pits is probably the correct call.
You be pit. Connor Constantine and Jeremy Reader.
Close battle here, coming out of the last turn and approaching Hell Corner.
Reader's going to show the nose. Is he going to send it?
Damage on the front end of Reader.
Ooh. Reader's going to make the pass to the inside. It looked a little forced, but all clean. Reader's got some damage on the front of that bonnet. I think that's from that Andreasen murder.
The double murder, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, allegedly. Outside the orange zone as well, so. Now Connor Looks like he's lost 2 positions, one to Reeder and one to Stokes. Interestingly enough, 1-2, they're gone. They dropped the hammer. They're 8 seconds out from
And
Matt
Hicks
Morrison.
matching quite closely, only 3/10 behind, perhaps just tucking in and maybe building up that gap even further. We got currently almost 9 seconds to third place. Matt Morrison here, who is defending against Castagno.
Xavier, Ben has been kind of quiet the first 2 races of the season. Usually we've got Xavier top 3 starting and finishing, so I think he kind of had a horrific race at Zolder. Hopefully today he can do a little bit better on his performance in 4th. So
Yep, currently running in 4th and behind a new driver that we have over from SRA, one of our partners here in North American Sim Racing, and maybe that perhaps is part of the reason we just have a really tough field this year with some new drivers.
yeah, absolutely.
A good run so far though, and again, maybe just driving at 90 to 95%, happy to tuck in and get that slipstream on the straightaways and just back off in the S's and make sure to not make a mistake, end up in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, here, Dan French in the pits, I'll point out. Here, you've really got to, you can't push 100% every lap. You know, there's no reason to. Everybody else is going to make mistakes. You know that. So you might as well just kind of ride it out. You know, if you can make to the last 5 minutes of the race with a clean car, and you'll probably finish top 3, top 5 at least. So. Very close coming up the hill.
And am I reading this right that what position did Morrison qualify in? Am I looking at 18th?
I think that is right.
Wow.
All the way up to 3rd by the 3rd lap in the race. So he was able to capitalize on the chaotic lap 1.
Yep, and with only a minimal amount of damage, I do see some bumps and scratches, a little bit of bodywork damage, but hopefully that car is still tracking straight.
Now it looks like from about 5th on back, we just have a gigantic cluster of cars. It starts with Zabolski, and it goes all the way back to Constantini. So,
And I think that is what we are looking at here. That is just a line of 5 or 6 drivers, all less than a second apart. That's pretty amazing to see going through the S's.
Yeah, Zach Buns, Hendrik Andreasen on the back end of that. Now these 2 cars that we're looking at here, we're riding on board with an Audi, and we've got the Pig, the Porsche behind it. The Porsche, you can definitely outbrake the Audi, but the Audi, when it comes to the straight line, it's just, oh my goodness, what do we got going on back here? Zach Buns having issues.
And patiently and correctly waiting for a safe rejoin here. Definitely a lot of traffic coming. You do not want to be pulling out in front. That would be a dangerous situation for both cars involved.
And he is close enough to the pits where he doesn't necessarily have to do a tow.
Yep, wondering what happened there. It is a tricky section, a high-speed corner coming out of the chase and toward that last corner. And as we see the curbs here, as Wesley Stokes going through, some of them really can upset the car, especially on exit. If you're still carrying some of that lateral G-force and you hit one of them, you can end up spinning toward that inside barrier.
Now, is there 2 Lexuses right here side? No, they're outside by side. Okay. Starting to think, oh, we got 2 Lexuses side by side. That could be bad.
And this quote-unquote teamwork here, working together, not forcing the issue from Castagno behind on Morrison, I think is really helping. Check out that gap. We're back to 11 seconds now.
Yeah, that's right. And it looks like there's a Bentley right in front of them that's having some issues. I think that is the Bentley of James Butler. Really struggling on the mountain. We saw him earlier exit stage left. right into the barrier. So
That's right. And here's that gap I was talking about, the 3.6 second gap back to Kenny. Morrison and Castagno able to stretch that out a little bit every lap just by not fighting.
on Kenny, looking back at Jeremy Reeder. These two seem to be working together as well. They've kind of pulled the gap on Stokes.
Yep. And the leaders, Higgs and Karamidaru, look like they have switched spots, and there's
Oh,
5 seconds
wow.
in between them now. Perhaps a mistake coming from the number 22 Mercedes.
Most definitely.
Now, as we look at the qualifying times compared to some of the race times, we're definitely going to see a difference because of the race fuel, but also conserving tires a little bit. Even 30 minutes is enough to notice that tire wear on the fronts, and it's not something you want going through the mountains is a lack of rotation. So we'll see perhaps a second or two difference compared to their qualifying times here, running about 2:05s, third to fifth place here.
Yeah, absolutely. Difference. Now, that gap is coming down from Sean Kenny to Xavier Castagno. It was just above 3 seconds. Now it's a little bit below. It's just above 2, so I wonder if Morrison is kind of holding up Castagno, is doing more harm than good right now.
It sure looks like it. Kenny and Reeder, as you said, working together, only 2.2 seconds back, clawing back a second, and they are in sight. Morrison may be taking note of that and maybe giving Castagno the wave through. We'll have to see how much they want to work together versus maintain track position here, which is important in itself, as it can be difficult to make passes if you lack the straight line speed to battle with that Audi.
Mm-hmm. And the back of the field is just kind of spread out. The closest race we got in the back is, looks like Pollock and Sobolski on Andreasen. So those 3 guys, you could throw a blanket over them. But the rest are having a bad day. That's what's going on there.
And with the field settling in a little bit, gives us a chance to promote the league that is hosting this series. It is ESR, and we are a Canada and US based league, but also serve many drivers from South America, the Oceania region, Europe, and many other locations. We currently run ACC leagues on both Sundays, like we're watching here, but also on Mondays. And we also have race room leagues that race on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we have a little bit of everything for everyone, including some fun Beam NG multiplayer activities and the crowd favorite Wreckfest, which happens on Friday nights. So definitely join us on Discord and jump into your favorite sim or game, as it were, and join us for some fun action.
That's right, esr-race.org. Our Discord's attached to that, so just come on in. Looks like we've got a few that have dropped out, Neil. I don't know if you saw that. James Butler, there was a couple who yeah, we're not doing this. We're done.
Yep, the attrition is apparent already. We have dropped 4 drivers from 23 down to 19. Nichols, though, beginning to claw back some time, only 10 seconds off the back of the
What is
field,
going
the
on at the
fastest
front?
lap.
Oh, Castagno and Matt Morrison. I
Oh
don't.
no, and Matt
We missed
Morrison.
it. We missed whatever happened. All I saw was an Audi like sideways and a slow Porsche.
Oh no, and Matt Morrison having to tow the car back to the garage on the way to the pits as we speak. Already yanked the car off with the crane trackside.
Oh, and he's left. He said,
Team
"I'm
is
outta
packing
here."
it up. And then we're 5 drivers who have retired from today's race after only 15 minutes. A tough track indeed.
Oh, Connor Constantini passing Xavier Castagno. Castagno's having a hard time. He's got some major damage. I think he is pulling it into the pits. Yeah, he sure is. He's coming into the pits.
a tough call, but sometimes you just got to do it. Climbing up the hill again are the Lexus, followed by two BMWs. Cebulski in that leading car, and a group here that you could, again, throw a blanket over. They perhaps are working together.
So it looks like Sean Kinney, Jeremy Reeder, they'll get promoted to third and fourth. Wesley Stokes and Connor Constantini behind them. Cebulski, Andreas, and Jack. Joe's Castano, but Josh McLaughlin taking it.
And talking about that decision to either retire the car or finish the race, we see Lachlan Nichols on the lead lap, I believe, 18th position nonetheless, which is worth 7 points. Is that right, in the championship? We'll look
That's
that
right.
up.
It's worth 7 points.
Perhaps a bit fewer. I'm seeing
I'm
3
sorry,
points,
it's
but
3
it is still
points.
early and gaining quickly on the back of the field. Perhaps working their way up to maybe 15th or something, getting 6 or 7 points. It's definitely more points than a DNF, which I believe is worth 0 points this early in the race if you DNF with only 15 minutes complete.
But, you know, a DNF might not be the end of the world for this series. Just depending on where you're at in the championship and what the other drivers around you do. We've already seen Max Simmons go, we haven't seen Max Simmons go, but Dan French has left.
Oh
Jack
no,
Bullock.
and we see someone in the grass. That is Cebulski, the Lexus, making a mistake through the chase. Back on track safely, though, right in the back of the field.
We've got our top two that have left. Tobias has left. He was in 5th pre-race. So really, if you stick it out for this race, you're actually going to be okay in points. Antonio Martel was P6 in the championship. Looks like Reeder gets around Sean Kinney. I feel like I feel like that there was maybe there was some communication there as to hey, just go ahead and go around me. You're a little bit quicker.
Could be. We see Reeder and Kenny. Reeder working all the way up to 3rd place. What a good run. 19 seconds off the leaders, but a lot of positions gained. That'll be a big points day for that Audi team.
It will.
And with this series offering one drop round, as you mentioned, taking the DNF and packing up the truck, getting ready to fly all the gear to Kyalami, another flyaway race,
Yep.
may just be the best option to get a head start on that car setup and maybe some of that repair work that's going to have to happen between this race and the next.
Oh yeah. Man, have you checked the weather out at Kyalami? I mean, I show nothing but rain out there, which is kind of crazy because it never really rains out there.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just like the
so
racing
weird.
weekend just attracts the clouds and the bad weather.
Yeah, I don't understand what it is. The
I
ad
will
was
say
really
though,
cool about that, though.
rain racing at Kyalami can be quite fun.
It can be. Or is it Suzuka? Who knows? Who knows?
Cebulski making a position back on the BMW of Polyak after that off-track excursion through the grass at the chase a few laps ago.
Race in the front of that BMW it's not looking too happy.
No, not happy at all.
Matt Higgs he's just kind of he's put the sail out. He's just kind of out of here. He's 7 seconds ahead of I'm gonna screw his name up, but Cameron Dowry, and then behind that 19 seconds to Reeder. Looks like Sean Kinney's still on his tail though, so I wonder if Reeder just wasn't as fast as what it first appeared.
Yep, and with the balance of performance, it really can depend if you'd rather be behind somebody to get that straight line speed, but then you kind of get the detriment of the aero wash through all these high speed sections here that we're looking at. Sometimes it'll be better for the group if the the faster car in a straight line can be in front, and then the faster car in a corners behind can just sort of take that detriment of the aero wash as they've already got the better grip. Nichols up to 13th. A recovery drive if I've ever seen one.
I know, right?
Really deciding to stick it out, which is commendable for sure.
And, you know, depending on what everybody else's damage looks like, he may be able to get a top 10 out of this, which would be excellent.
That's right, definitely moving forward both in positions and time as we see the purple number plate indicating fastest lap of the race.
Yep.
We can expect to see Nichols and perhaps Simons as well, another really quick driver on track, moving even further ahead than 12th and 13th right now.
And he's going to have a huge advantage because, you know, I mean, we just have to know that some of these guys are going to come in, they're going to forget to uncheck the fixed damage. You know, there are mistakes that are going to be made in pit road, so he has a real possibility of catching up. Seeing that he's only a second behind. He's now in front of Max Simmons, so he's 13 seconds behind Cliff Hemian. 38 minutes to go.
That's
He can
right.
do it. He can do it.
Simon's carrying damage from an earlier incident, if I recall correctly, and that is an interesting visual played out in real time about how pitting early for damage can actually pay off if you can be gaining 1, maybe 2 seconds a lap for the entirety of that first stint.
Yeah, because immediately Max Simmons goes to 3 seconds behind him. Immediately.
Look at that.
And look, he just put 2 seconds up on Cliff Hemian. So he's coming.
And as we look at the time left in the race, 2, maybe 3 minutes left until that pit window opens, I imagine that a lot of these drivers, like Simons, like Hemian, that perhaps have a lot of damage, are going to dive into the pits immediately to try to maximize the time they have after taking that time loss by repairing damage in the pits.
But if it's that much damage, you know, they probably should have come in way sooner. Maybe not taking the, you know,
That's true.
Well,
we do see Nichols, it did pay off for them, working
Yeah.
all the way back up to 12th, and with the fresh car as well, no damage and already ahead of Simons. So I guess depending on how much damage you actually have, it definitely can work out.
looks like we're going to stick with these three until the pit window opens.
Looking to the inside.
And I wonder.
Cebulski, that Lexus must just be really fast in a straight line if we remember.
Did
Cebulski,
Andreas just let him have it or what?
It may be. Again, talking about that strategy working with other drivers on track. Maybe you want that car that's got a little extra horsepower, a little more slippery in the front so you can benefit from that slipstream. And as we get a look at the real test, the uphill climb, that acceleration off the corner is just unreal, gapping the BMWs behind.
Thomas Waj, a top 10 for this for Thomas in a relatively clean car. He's looking to have a great race. What happened to Reeder? He's magically in the pits.
Oh no, and just a minute before the pit window opens. That cannot be good news.
I wonder if he had some equipment malfunctions.
It does happen, and it is unfortunate to see. 25 minutes into this difficult race. Moving forward, coming in from P3, that's going to be a difficult pill to swallow for that Audi team.
Oh, and Reeder's dropped off. Yeah, I think he had some. I think his rig came apart on him.
That is just unfortunate. The pre-race checklist, I guess, just not fully checked off today.
Yeah, well, you know, it could have been, or it could have been that, you know, it's maybe it's time for him to go to aluminum and get rid of that that GT Omega R. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. We will have to check the SRO regulations to see if an aluminum 8020 chassis is an acceptable frame for this race vehicle, but assuming that it works out, we are in full support of that move. We
Pit
hate to
window is
see
open.
DNFs.
Yeah, especially behind equipment malfunctions. That's the, you know, it's one thing if like you DNF because you just had a bad race and you know you, oh my goodness, where is Jack going? Where's he going?
Another off-track excursion, and early all three drivers, nope, just the front two, the Lexus,
Jack thought about it. He said, nah.
maybe looking to get that overlap. And if Polyak can put in a couple of clean laps here, gain a second or two in that pit stop, then definitely come out ahead.
Hope Enric remembered to take that damage off. If not, Jack will definitely have him because Jack he's got a pretty clean car.
That's right. Did not appear to take any damage, did that Lexus during the cutting of the chase.
You're on board with Matt Higgs, the man with the plan. He is. You can hear it. He's not even really pushing. He's just kind of like he's 3/4 throttle all the way down the hill. So.
Yep, no need to push, maintaining the gap at around 7 seconds to Karmadaru. And if Higgs doesn't have any damage, we'll probably expect to see him come in right at that halfway point to
Yeah.
take tires and make sure to maximize the use of the tires over the race.
Which with the pit cycle here, 30 seconds is just now coming down the front straight, I think. So the next time by, he'll be able to get out of the pits just under halfway.
That's right. I think the leaders were far enough along that the pit window opened after the pit entry, and so they weren't actually able to take an early pit stop, but we'll see if either of them decide. If you remember, I think Karmadaru took some damage, or at least had an incident early on that gave Higgs the lead. We'll have to see if that resulted in, yep, and there we go. Karmadaru in the pits as soon as possible, probably looking to repair some of that damage.
Now, let's point out here, I know this is because of pit cycles, but Nichols showing an 8th.
That's right, and only 3 or 4 drivers, perhaps, to have leapfrogged that have pit already, so almost into the top 10 at worst. That's looking really good.
Yeah, he'll be in the top 10. We know he'll be. He's caught right up to Thomas Waj. It looks like so. He'll definitely leapfrog Waj.
And pit lane is busy now with Karmadar in from P2, Stokes, Constantini, and Polyak in from P4, 5, and 6. Taft and McLaughlin just leaving the pit lane to complete their pit stop. Simon's also done with his pit stop.
John Kenny, Matt Higgs showing their prowess today, showing the strength.
And Higgs in no rush to come into the pits. Must have a clean car, looking to get that old set of tires off, but make them last for exactly 30 minutes. Might be the strategy today.
And look, Nichols, he's got past Tom Waj, so.
And it will be interesting to see when Nichols pits with this much pace and with the perhaps a little bit less tire wear, spending some time in the pits early on. Wouldn't be surprised to see Nichols maybe go a little bit deeper into the pit window to get some clear track and really push the car without anybody in front.
Yeah, I figure he'll go 2 more laps before he comes in, and just to maximize those fresher tires.
That's
and
right.
Then he'll have 4 or 5 less laps on his tires compared to everyone else around him. So, and these 3 here, see, these are the guys that he'll be battling: Cliff Hemian, Xavier Castano. No, I'm sorry, Cliff Hemian, Andreasen. So these guys they're holding each other up. He should be able to leapfrog right by them.
That's right, and the one concern for Nichols is that The leaders who have pit are on fresh tires now and probably doing some pretty fast laps, although they will be on that half race tank of fuel. So we'll have to see how the lap times compare, but you'd have to think the way that Nichols has been moving forward and the way that they qualified on pole by over a second, probably still moving forward in terms of time right now by staying out late.
Yep, and it looks like Higgs and Sean Kinney Sean Kinney's still in the pits. Matt Higgs has already left.
And Higgs just out of the pits. We'll have to see his timing and scoring updates after the first sector where Higgs comes out. I would imagine Nichols will be in provisional first place unless Higgs was a full pit stop delta ahead, which I guess could be
like
possible since Nichols came in early to pit.
Yeah, I think he was at least a full pit delta ahead.
Yep, and there it is. Higgs just 3 seconds behind, almost exactly 1 lap behind the leader, but before a pit stop. So catching Higgs for first will be difficult, but we'll have to see how Nichols' pit stop goes. It should be a quick one, just tires off and on, no damage, hopefully.
Now, Karen Madura, he is back in the pits, so that's not a good sign for him.
Not a good sign at all. Does make you wonder, was it damage? Was it the wrong tire compound? It's tough to say from here.
Now, I think Nichols comes in here. He'll have enough time to go around for another lap, but it'll just be just enough time. He'll have just enough time, but I think he comes in here.
Yep, I believe that would be a good call.
Catching up to Higgs, the pace that he's running. I think before he comes in for his next lap, Higgs would actually be hindering his pace. So, and he's gonna go for it.
Nichols pushing Max Simon's style of old. Max Simon's kind of moving on to more progressive strategies these days, pitting at random times, but Nichols here pulling the old Max Simon strategy, which is go as late as possible into the race before pitting.
So I'll be interested to see if Matt Higgs actually slows him up here, because he's close to about a second and a half off of him.
Gaining, which answers the question of, is Nichols still moving forward on the worn tires but low fuel? And the answer is definitely yes.
Like cliff him in the Bentley against Henrik Andreasen. And that should promote Kenny. Kenny will be P2 when we cycle through pits.
That is right. Kenny, Stokes, Costantini. We'll have to see where Waj comes out. If you remember, I believe Waj was running P10
That's right.
before the pit stop cycle. Up to P3 now is one of the later drivers to choose to pit.
At Bentley, no match for the BMW on the straight, it looks like.
It does look like that way.
Xavier Castano also has not pitted. It is going to be interesting to see if he's going to have... Oh, he's in the pits now, just as I said.
Here we go. And wondering where Nichols is on track. I expected to see the pit symbol next to their name by now.
We should see it in about 20 seconds. And look, he's within 8/10 of
Oh no,
Matt.
and I think I just saw Stokes go flying into the wall from behind Kenny here, right at Skyline.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh no, on the track map we can see there just out of frame here, the yellow dot. That looked like a hard hit. Amishwaj coming out of the pits. We'll have to see after the first sector where he filters out.
Nichols hits pit lane. 30 seconds, about 40 seconds left, so really pushing it.
That's right, 25 minutes left. We'll have about a 5-minute tire advantage at the end of the race. That'll probably come in handy as Nichols starts to catch some of the faster drivers, P3, P4, P5, that actually have some pace left in the car. Will help to have those fresher tires on.
Two guys we hadn't talked about this race, Josh McLaughlin, Spencer Taft. They're in the Porkers. They're in the Porkers on Bathurst. they don't like that. What Josh just did in that curve, they don't like that. So
That's right.
Is now closed.
I can't say that I'm surprised to see kind of the porkers at the back with Castano in that group.
But we do see Stokes, as we saw go into the wall, in the pits now, so maybe gaining another position.
Now,
Who knows what will happen in 25
listen
minutes
to
if they can
this,
keep it
Neil.
clean. Let's hear it.
Nichols was 32 seconds in front of Sean Kinney. He was 32 seconds in front of Sean Kinney. So there is a possibility he comes out in the top 5 ahead of Jack Pollock.
That's right, the pit stop delta probably only about 30 seconds on top of that 30-second pit stop, so losing about a minute in the pits, maybe coming out 30 seconds behind Sean Kinney.
Let's see here. Where is he going to end up?
And there it is.
6th place. So he jumped from 11th to 6th with pits.
And only about 14 seconds behind P3 right now.
Yes.
I wonder what the pace will be. How fast can Nichols work their way up, perhaps onto the podium today?
Well, depending on the times that Cebulski, I think he can get Cebulski and Pollock. I'm not sure about Connor. We'll see. We'll just see how the deltas kind of fall.
And Jeremy, I almost forgot about our trivia game today. Are you ready to start our trivia game?
We might as well.
We're here on a giant mountain in Australia, Mount Panorama, so I was inspired to quiz you on the world's tallest mountains.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go through the tallest mountains from each continent, starting with the easiest one. So Jeremy, which is the tallest mountain and what continent is it on? Tallest mountain in the world.
All right, so the tallest mountain in the world. I'm going to have to say that's probably Mount Everest has the highest peak. Is that right?
Got it. And
Okay.
what continent
Right.
does that
So
that
I
mountain?
want to say it's on the Asian continent. That's where
Yeah,
I want
that's
to say
right.
it is.
You nailed it.
But just so you know, that's the only one that I know.
Well, maybe I'll have to give you some hints for the next one, which we'll leave till a little bit later. That's but yeah, the 29,035 feet tall, Mount Everest, tallest in the world. Just a little bit taller than Mount Panorama here, but I will tell you, when you're seated so low in the car, in these GT3 cars, looking down skyline at that hill, it is quite intimidating.
So intimidating, I hate racing here.
Nichols gaining on P5, Cebulski in the Lexus. The gap is now under 2 seconds.
Wow, Nichols on Cebulski. He's within 2/10. He's all over him. He's going to have him coming off the straight here. Wow, this is exciting to watch this right here, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. I think the Lexus is quick in a straight line. I'm wondering where the Lambo is gaining all of its time. Sticking with it and gaining is the Lambo here on the Conrad straight.
He is just getting a better run everywhere is all it is. I'll be interested to see what happens here, though, with the 2x2. Oh,
with
go ahead
authority,
and chop his nose off
before the kink completes the pass.
I half expected Cebulski to put up a little bit better fight, though. He has been known to, hey, you know, I might have that red symbol, but that doesn't mean I'm not afraid to punch outside my weight.
That's right. Every position gained is more points in the championship, regardless of your class. So all drivers fighting for position here, and there is no love lost just because the number plate colors are different.
Now, Pollock is catching up to Connor Constantini, and Nichols is catching up to Pollock. So, I don't know, Neil. What are you thinking? Are you thinking Nichols is going to have a top 3 before this is out?
I think that with 20 minutes left and 9 seconds behind P3, I believe it is within reach for Nichols to get a podium here today, which would be quite the comeback after that unexpected pit stop early for damage. And still wondering what that damage was from. We'll have to dig into the footage after the race and really kind of see what happened there. And as expected, McLaughlin, consistency is key up to P12. The trio of Porsches here, McLaughlin, Taft, Castagno.
Now Castagno
with the
didn't
number
pit. He didn't
one,
pit.
that is unfortunate. Maybe not
Oh, that's
meeting
gonna
either of the
hurt.
requirements during that pit stop window, forgetting to
Yeah,
refuel
because
or forgetting to change tires.
he went in, he pitted. So, oh, that's gonna hurt.
It's too bad. Castagno maybe electing to take the time penalty at the end of the race for not complying with that pit window.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Hungaro, who looks like he just had issues. I think he'll be fine to keep that 14th spot, maybe.
Yeah, was running as high as first place today and now second to last, Kirimaru. Although, when you remember that we started with 23 drivers,
Right.
actually about in the 50th percentile there, working toward that 50th percentile mark as in the top half of drivers that started today. Okay, Jeremy, I'm going to give you a hint for the continent with the second tallest, highest mountain. It is South America.
South America, you say?
Yep, and maybe why don't you just guess how tall it is, because this is a really lesser known mountain that probably haven't heard of.
Well,
So
I
remember,
mean,
Mount Everest is 29,000 feet. And how tall is the continent with the second highest?
28,500 feet.
No, unfortunately, in South America, the mountains only get up to about 22,800 feet, and that's
Okay.
Mount Aconcagua, which is in Argentina. I have confidence in the next one, so I'm gonna give you a few minutes to pump up your
I don't even
ego again.
I don't even know what I don't what could the third one possibly be.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint now and give you some time to think about it. So it's the North American continent is the third highest continent, highest peak. So maybe you could just think about the US and what really tall mountains we have in the US. As we look at Nichols here past a BMW, that is Polyak. Nichols up to fourth already, and that gap to P3 to the podium spot is down to 6.8 seconds to Costantini ahead.
I have a feeling. I have a sneaking suspicion with the pace that he is running. He is looking to be about 2 seconds quicker than everybody else a lap.
And that means that in just 4 laps, we expect a podium for Nichols with,
well,
oh man, let's see, 4 laps in hand.
4 laps, he will be at Sean Kinney's back door talking about, hey, bud, I'm going to need you to go ahead and get the hell out. Ooh, is that because Josh having issues with the wall there? No touchy.
And you are right, Kenny is only 2.5 seconds ahead of Costantini, so if and when Nichols catches Costantini, they will be sniffing down the diffuser of Kenny for second place after being in last and after an early pit.
It's not something called K2, is it?
No. Remember, we're not going on like the list of the highest mountains, just of all.
Okay.
We're looking at each continent's highest mountain.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so like obviously K2 is huge, but it's part of Asia, and we're just looking at the highest one from each continent.
I don't even know what to type into Google for that. I have to be honest.
Oh, you're cheating?
I don't even know what to type into Google.
Well, it's a mountain in Alaska. Is the tallest mountain in North America.
I don't even. But
It's Denali. It's 20,000 feet tall.
Denali, like GMC Denali.
Yeah.
Okay. Nichols just put 3 seconds up against Constantini.
That is unreal, the pace at which Nichols is reeling everybody in here.
Let's see.
And here is Simons, who I believe was 13th after the pit stop cycle. Maybe repaired damage falling behind through the pits, but with a fresh car and some fresh tires, definitely with some pace here. Going right past Hemian on the Conrad straight.
Yeah, and you heard him, and he gave him a lift there, so he recognized that, hey, this is Max Simmons. He is coming through. There's no reason for me to fight this one.
Yep, that's right.
Nichols would be a long way ahead of Matt Higgs without that incident in the first couple of laps.
Yep, that is right. Would have been a fun race to see between the two of them. All right, Jeremy, the mountain number 4. I'm going to tell you the mountain and you try to guess the continent. How about that?
Okay.
It is Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, that's easy. I know where that one's at. That was
Which
Africa.
continent? That's
Africa.
right. 19,000 feet. Almost as tall as Denali, just about 1,000 feet shorter.
Okay.
Kilimanjaro is a giant ass volcano, though, so it looks really, really cool as it's so prominent from the surroundings.
We are, me and the wife are looking at where to go coming year. We were going to go this year, but with the new job and everything, could not break away. But next year, we're looking to go 2 weeks outside the country. Kids go with the grandparents. He was looking at Greece. Always wanted to go to Hawaii, but I hear Hawaii is one of those places that just like you go one time, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, right? So
Yeah, but even going once is worth it.
she's looking at like Greece, Africa. I want to take her to South Korea. I'd love to go there. I had a good time when I lived there. So would love to go back there.
Lots of good options to choose from.
Maybe we can go visit Mount Kilimanjaro.
It is definitely a sight to see, and if you're up for it, you can hike to the top of it, although it takes many days, 5 to 6 days, and typically renting a guide service to make sure that you're following all the local restrictions for getting to the top of it.
No, listen, I'm American, so I'm fat.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
You resemble that remark. So there's not, we're not, I don't stay in tents anymore. You know, if they make these things called hotels, right?
They sound expensive.
I don't care how much it costs.
Nichols right on the back of Costantini here in that Lexus. Quick in a straight line is the Lexus, but Nichols still gaining because of the slipstream, and maybe because of the balanced performance here.
Yeah, I think we're going to come through the chase here. Oh, Nichols
looking to the inside, not wasting any time.
Oh, he's going to go off track.
Keeping 2 wheels on the curb.
Oh,
track limits respected.
He spooked Connor. He spooked Connor.
Side by side into the last corner. How will this shake out? Nichols around the outside cleanly.
Just the pace difference there is, I think, what kind of threw Connor off. And that Nichols going off the track there. I mean, obviously, but he has Sean Kinney within sight. 10 minutes left to go. He's gonna have him
3.8 seconds.
He's gonna have him in 2 laps.
With about 5 or 6 laps remaining, probably 6, as the leader is Higgs 30 seconds or so ahead of this group, running just over 2-minute lap times, probably 5 to 6 laps remaining.
Now, Sean Kinney, I'll be interested to see how this little battle goes. Sean's been away for a while. I think one of his strategies coming into the race was just kind of, look, just survive. So I don't know that he puts up too much of a fight here, but I kind of hope he does. I kind of hope he goes elbows out.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Now, fields just kind of spread out. The closest battle, Spencer Taft on Josh McLaughlin, but they just seem to be working together. It looks like Xavier Castano has left as well. I don't see that third porker out there.
The attrition is real from 23 to 15 drivers, losing 8 with 8 minutes remaining. Will the remaining 15 make it? I sure hope so.
Henrik Andreasen, he's been surrounded by BMWs just all day. I mean, he's in a BMW, he's just been around them all day long. I'm sure he's ready to see some variety in cars. Got Max Simmons all over him, who's actually making a pretty good comeback from the start of the race.
Is that who we're looking at here? 2 BMWs in a row? Wonder if
Yep.
that's Wesley's. No,
No, that was
we're looking at
Andreasen and Simmons. Here's Josh McLaughlin and Spencer Taft. Are these two guys just working together? It kind of looks like it.
those 2 Porsches definitely sticking together throughout this race, and it's working. P11 and P12. And as we think back to the leaders, Sean Kenny in second, Nichols in third, 1.6 seconds between them. And that second position is worth an extra 7 points in the championship.
It's huge.
As you said, I don't think Kenny is going to be too keen to give that up, but Nichols gaining quickly, only 8 tenths behind now.
Oh, here we go. Here it is. Come on, director. I want to see that. I don't want to see this. No, I don't want to see this either.
Awaiting anxiously the camera angle switch here.
Oh, and we go farther back.
Moving the wrong way.
Come on, director. Clip him in. He's driving on the wrong side of the car. Alright, had to let him know. You know how debilitating that'd be for me?
And as timing and scoring updates, it does look like Nichols has made the pass on Kenny. We do miss it on camera.
And he put him 2 seconds off, just like that.
That's right, we missed it by a while. We cut back to Josh McLaughlin and Taft in the Porsches. Higgs having a lonely race, I think over 50 seconds ahead of second place at this point as we watch the timing screen update.
It's been a while since we've seen him at P1 in a race here at ESR, so I'm sure this is a welcome change of pace for him.
That's right. Josh McLaughlin falling off the pace appeared to let Taft through on the straightaway. Maybe running low on fuel?
It could be, because he's short shifting? Is he just down a couple engine laps?
You hate to see a technical error like underfueling the car during the pit stop affect a driver's race after surviving 55 minutes of the mountain.
I know, right? 55 minutes of the mountain, and what it comes down to is not enough fuel.
Certainly hearing some lifting and coasting, maybe.
Oh yeah, he's not even on the gas right there coming down the hill.
Looking behind McLaughlin, Stevens almost 16 seconds in the rear, although we're looking at 3 laps remaining That might be enough if McLaughlin's having to heavily lift and coast here.
Yeah, I mean, you can... Oh, yeah, you see that? He is...
Oh no,
Is
coasting
he
down
out
the
of
Conrad
gas?
Straight.
Is he out of gas here? No, he's not out of gas. He's still able to go, but...
Sean Kenny here and Costantini now fighting for the final step of the podium. Kenny, I will say, is not going
No,
to be
that
keen
is
to give up that
that
position.
is a blue flag driver. That looks like that is actually Karamandaru is who that
Oh
is.
no, Karamandaru's day going from bad to
Or no,
worse.
I didn't see the number on the side of the car. It could be Karamandaru, but or it could be Stevens.
That's right, Kenny and Stevens.
Thomas Waj. Good little solid day for him. And Mark Sobolski. So Henrik and Max Simmons. Coming down to the last 2 laps of the race here. We should have Matt Higgs come by here in just a minute. I think that'll be the... Once he comes across the line next time, it'll be final lap. Now, is that Matt Hicks? No, that's not Matt Hicks. That's Karamandaru right there.
That's right. I think most of the gap stabilizing at this point. Driver's happy to just be surviving after 55 minutes of the mountain here. They're not wanting to make any mistakes this late in the race and take some damage.
3 minutes left to go. Let's just make it.
Exactly, and you have to imagine that's what their race engineers are telling them over the radio too. Kimian having a rough day. Forward in the field, behind in the field, damage here and there. Ending up within the top 10, so not that bad with all the attrition. Just sticking it out even through the adversity pays off here.
And he's got the leader right behind him, so that means that we'll have 2 more laps. We'll have this one in the following lap.
That's right, next time by will be the start of the final lap. And as you mentioned, Karamandaru here. Coming back through the field, trying to unlap himself from Sobolski here, who's in P6.
Sobolski go on the inside of Sobolski. They're going to go 2 by 2.
Kindly obliges,
oh,
but oh
wow.
no,
that looked bad.
That instability of that AMG platform for a front-engine car just seems to want to rotate through these high-speed corners more than you want it to, and it really bites him here. Karamandaru's day going from bad to worst to worstest.
That hurt.
You do have to wonder, though, was it worth Karamandaru forcing the issue with just a lap and a half remaining? This position not for any extra points, is really just to unlap himself.
I don't know that it was, to be honest with you, and it looks like Mark Sobolski's coming up on Josh. He's fixing to run out of gas. There's no way he doesn't.
Good to see the Porsche still running, though. He's actually managing to perhaps finish the race.
Last lap, final lap. Oh
no,
was that Spencer? Oh no.
The only other remaining Porsche has to retire back to the garage.
Oh no, on the last lap, he's not going to have enough time to come back out and finish the race.
Although with 90+% of the laps completed, I believe that the DNF will still result in points.
Yeah, he'll still get points.
Gaggle of cars behind someone very slow. I wonder if that's Josh McLaughlin crawling through the top of the mountain.
I think that is. I think he's just
hoping to get lapped one more time to not have to do the extra leader lap, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I think he's going for here. Ooh. And he may be making things quite dangerous on the hill is what it looks like. Everybody's having to try and pass him. Was super slow.
That's right. No extra runoff space given there, and you have to be crossing back and forth across the racing line trying to stay out of people's way.
Now I'm interested to see where is Nichols at compared to Matt Higgs. Has he made up some time?
Nichols 13 seconds better of Kenny, meaning Higgs is a similar pace to Kenny, maybe almost 30 seconds behind instead of the 50 that they started with. 41 there, so a little bit of time gain, definitely not enough to undo that pit stop, but that, man, you have to think that first pit stop costed
Yeah,
45 seconds, maybe
at
maybe
least.
a whole minute, and clawed back to within 40 seconds.
Henrik and Matt Simmons, they've been going at each other the entire race. There's that stricken Mercedes, Akira Mandaru.
That's right.
Oh, Jack Pollock going around the outside of, is that Cliff Hemian? Was that
It's
Sobolski?
one of the Lexuses.
Leader has finished the race.
So picking up a spot right there at the end, Jack did. He had some issues at the start of the race. Going to come back for a top 5.
And that is a solid points day for Jack Polyak, working all the way into top 5, perhaps. That's right, getting past... Which Lexus was that? Costantini?
Was it Connor? Is he 4th place? See the timing lines right here, I believe. I'm confused. Like the
I
back
suppose
of
it
the
could have been one
field.
of the lapped cars. Stevens also in the Lexus, a lap behind.
Yeah, it could have been.
Higgs taking the dominating win by 42 seconds, followed by Nichols, Kenny, Costantini. Polyak working his way toward the finish line as well to round out the top 5.
So we got some Kenny action out there doing some donuts.
That's right, celebrating the survival of the mountain one more time.
That was a good race. A lot of destruction, a lot of chaos. We saw Bathurst things today, so
Yes, we did indeed Bathurst things.
let's see here. You know, I think we're waiting on some. I think we're waiting on some stewarding, and then the points will be updated. But it looks like a solid points day for a lot of folks. Possibly Max Simmons still in the lead for the points. Who knows? We'll update those in a couple days. Well, what's the next mountain? Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, let's run through the final mountains here. So in 5th place is a controversial one because it's the continent of Europe. Do we go
Oh,
with Russia or do we go with the actual
ooh.
Europe?
It's okay.
Russia's got canceled right now.
You were very specific. So is it Russia?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Russia does have a higher mountain than the rest of Europe, but do we want to say that Russia is part of Europe or should we snub them by saying that they can't participate?
Well, I mean,
We could
look,
say that their mountain competes under a neutral flag.
that we could say that. We could say
Well,
that.
we could make up a name for it. So it's 18,000 feet, formerly called Mount Elbrus. I'm going to make an anagram and call it Mount Russell.
Okay.
After that, we have Antarctica in 6th place. Can you believe it?
Nice.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Can you guess what last place is?
No
What's
idea.
left? It is the continent that we are on right now. It is Australia. And even if you expand it
Oh,
to
okay.
Oceania, the surrounding islands as well, still in 7th place.
Gotcha. Well, alrighty then. Well, thank you for those fun facts, Neil.
As always, you're very welcome.
I have been your host, Jeremy Reeder, and with me, my main man, Neil. We appreciate you guys watching. Give us a like, hit that bell, hit the subscribe button. Come join us, esr-race.org. Next week, we'll be in Kyalami. I hear it's going to be raining. I
The
hear it's going to be some night
rainy
action.
climate of Kyalami. The
And
one thing everybody knows about Kyalami. It
Yeah.
rains there all the time.
And look, listen, it's going to be dark. So it's going to be a fantastic race. It's an enduro race, 90 minutes in the wet. Oh, my goodness. 2 pit stops. What are we going to do? It's going to be chaos, ladies and gentlemen. I
for
urge
one,
you to show up.
I cannot wait to spend 90 minutes in the booth with you, Jeremy.
That's right. It's going to be a ton of fun. Well, all right, guys, gals. Got anything, Neil?
Thank you for watching, and join us at ESR. We will see you for round 3 at Kyalami.
All right. Bye.
Bye!